In this video, we're going to go over where to find power focus areas and the different sort of resources that we use during self-directed learning. So when your student logs into their year page on Summit, it's going to bring them here. As you can see, we have it broken up into two different courses. They have their language arts, depending on who their teacher is. It could be called different things, but it's going to look like this. And the same for their math course, which is found right here. In language arts, we have power focus areas. So this is this top line right here. These are the power focus areas that are required and will go on their grade. There are also additional focus areas. That is this line right here. This is for any students who pass off all of their power focus areas and have time to complete those. And finally, they have what is called challenge focus areas. This is where all of their spelling tests will be for the whole school year. So every other week, students will have a spelling test due, and there's another video about spelling tests that you can find in the playlist. So if you have any questions about that, go to that video. Math only has power focus areas. So you'll see that they have just this line of focus areas. Those ones are all required, just like the power focus areas are required in language arts. As you can see right here, some of mine have turned green. That means that I have mastered this power focus area. That means I've taken the content assessment and gotten at least an 8 out of 10 on it. Once your student has passed off a power focus area, it will turn green and it will jump to the front of the line. So since I passed off genre poetry, it jumped to the beginning of my power focus areas. You'll see this blue line right here. As the school year goes on, the blue line will continue to go down past all the months. If the blue line passes a power focus area that you haven't passed off yet, the power focus area will then turn red. So under punctuation and grammar review, you can see that this line will pass on October 26th. If I haven't passed that content assessment yet, punctuation and grammar review will turn red, meaning that I need to get that done, or I need to move on to the next one and then pass it off after I've completed the next one. So we're going to go ahead and click into one of the resources. So if I'm working on punctuation and grammar review, I'm going to click on this. Here students will find a diagnostic. They should take the diagnostic test before even starting any of the objectives. This is going to tell them what they need to really focus on and what would be helpful for them in taking notes. So they would go ahead and start this. It's 10 questions long, and this is information that might be new to them. So they shouldn't expect to pass it on their first time. It's just a way to see where they're at and what they need to continue to study. Looking into the objectives, I can see that this power focus area has 4 different objectives, and each objective has a goal for me. So objective 1's goal is I can use punctuation to separate items in a series. So if I click on objective 1, I know that all of these resources are going to have to do with using punctuation to separate items in a series. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my first one, and it is going to bring me to a document. And it's going to give me information about using punctuation in a series. We expect that students will take notes on all of these resources in language arts and in math so that it will help them pass their content assessment. So if I'm taking notes, I might write down this rule. Rule number 1, use a comma to separate each item in the series. So if I'm a student, that's going to be helpful information to me. So I'm going to take note on that. Then I can read through the examples. Maybe I write down the examples if I think that's helpful. I'll write down rule number 2, the example there. I don't expect students to write down every single thing in this document, but they should be taking appropriate notes to help them on their content assessment, because they can use the notes while taking the test. And they can't take the content assessment unless a teacher has checked off their notes. Once I've gone through all of my resources, and you can see I have a blue check mark here now showing that I've gone through that resource. Once all of objective 1 is done, all of objective 2, objective 3, and objective 4 is done, I can then request my content assessment. Once I've hit that request button, the teacher will be notified that I'm ready to take my content assessment. I'll need to show my teacher my notes, have a little conference with my teacher, and then they will approve it and I can go ahead and take the content assessment. The content assessment has 10 questions and they'll vary each time that you take the content assessment. In order to pass or to turn this power focus area green, I need to get at least an 8 out of 10. If I don't pass it, say I get a 6 out of 10, then I have the chance to retake it after going through and studying the resources more. If I take the content assessment and I don't pass, the objectives will show me what ones I still need to work on. So say in objective 1 and 2 I did really well, but objective 3 I got a few questions wrong. It will turn red here and I'll see that I need to focus on objective 3. So that is all that we have for power focus areas. The math ones are very similar. We still have the diagnostic, the objectives with all of the resources. And that is what students are expected to do during self-directed learning. And these objectives are also available to them at home. The only thing that they cannot do at home is take a content assessment.